For today's video, we'll be taking a detailed look into this Casio A158, why you should get one, and why you may want to consider it over the more fan favorite F-91. Let's start with the similarities. Let me just state the facts. These are Casios. They simply work. They simply won't die. I got this one for 17 and this for 21. I'm sure we can all agree here. These two tiny Casios are unquestionably iconic of the 80s and 90s as any other new wave song or sci-fi movie from the era. While we all know that the F-91's design stayed pretty much unchanged since its release in 1989, this A158, despite a much later introduction in 2009, is just as true to an even earlier model in the brand's catalog. It apparently is a remake of this A152 from the year 1984, only improving upon its predecessor with a better module. Prior to owning a copy of the A158, I really thought it shared the same resin case with the F-91, but with an additional chrome plating to appeal to those who might want something with fancier looks rather than rugged. Putting the two side by side reveals otherwise, with the A158 coming in a slightly smaller case with noticeably more rounded edges. I had to bring out my calipers to confirm any slight differences. Despite adding in the more significant difference in weight, I believe both watches would present a nearly identical wearing experience, both in terms of wrist presence and all-day comfort. The one we have here is the A158WEA-9, which I think looks best out of three currently available variants. All three models come in a resin case coated with some sort of chrome-like finish. A piece of acrylic crystal protects the module from the front. While being more susceptible to scratches compared to mineral, it does come with its own advantages by being lighter, more shatter resistant, while offering better screen legibility and the possibility of buffing out scratches with some compound-like polywatch. Both watches feature a stainless steel case back held in by 4 standard screws. That, with the use of cheap and widely available CR2016 cells, makes changing batteries a fairly convenient task. These stainless steel buttons on the sides are fairly easy to access and do provide very positive feedback. The watch comes with a folded link stainless steel bracelet, which I suppose is acceptable for the price. Finishing on the top surface is fully brushed, but missing any hints of polishing, which could have matched it better with the rest of the case. There's a very big amount of play between each link, which, while giving off a really cheap impression, also allows the bracelet to move more naturally with the wrist for a more comfortable wear. Both watches feature the Casio 593 module and have an identical set of features. Basic time, day, and date display, which can easily be toggled between 12 and 24-hour display formats. Fairly audible daily alarms and hourly chimes. A 1-hour stopwatch capable of recording split times. And a backlight that's, well, frankly unusable. I'll be guiding you through those features and basic settings in a separate video to keep this one short. Both the A158 and F-91 have a water resistance of 30 meters, which by rating standards merely translates to being splash-proof. These Casios, however, have the popular reputation of being more capable than that, easily holding up to reasonable water activities such as swimming and light snorkeling. I've taken mine to the pool with no problems. Now let's take a look at some practical differences between the two watches beyond the more obvious distinct look that each one has. For that, we'll have to go back to the case construction. I haven't had the A158 for long to see how this chrome treatment would hold up against daily exposure to sweat and other natural elements. I used to wear a space gray Apple Watch daily to the gym, and the case oxidized really badly after just a few months, something I wasn't expecting from a more premium priced product. What I'm almost certain of is that this glossy finish would prove to be less effective in hiding fades and scratches over time than that found on the F-91's painted variants, especially if compared to those models that come in bare resin. Now let's have a closer look at the case design on both watches, particularly at how the lugs are formed on each. Both measure 18mm, but the more traditional lugs on the A158 make it more suitable for a variety of straps in my opinion. I can't say the same for the F-91, which I think looks really awkward with straps other than anything similar to those that come as stock and flare out on one end for seamless integration with the case. Further making the A158 more suitable to frequent strap changes is the use of standard 18mm spring bars. Those on the F-91, on the other hand, work more like push pins that lock onto notches in the resin case. Those tight notches wear out rather quickly, leaving them incapable of securing the pins in place after just a few switches. In addition, I think the metallic finish on the A158 works better on a wider variety of strap styles. I think it looks fine on steel, fabric, or even on resin, but the F-91 on a steel bracelet? I don't think so. My F-91 is my daily workout watch for which I think the painted or bare resin cases are more ideal. But if I were in the market for a watch that would take on a less specific role, or something more appropriate for a wider variety of scenarios, I'd probably lean toward the A158 between the two. But seriously, I think we're just looking here at the case of which to buy first. Given how ridiculously cheap these watches are, you'll eventually get both. Please consider subscribing to the channel for more reviews of practical watches. See you in the next video.